There were people that read this and they took it offensive that he said he's beautiful like a woman, in the way that he should be upset that somebody compared him to a woman. However, the main problem with this comment is that the guy is like up aging him to a beautiful woman, meaning attractive, like he's attracted to them. Not that, because being beautiful like a woman on its own, there's nothing wrong with that. That would only be for people that have issues with women generally. But it's the fact that he's a kid, and then the whole title here, the way they actually put it, it sounds like a straight up child human trafficking ring, because they go, how Usher brought beautiful 14-year-old boy Justin Bieber to music mogul. Like, he sounds like a pimp, right? He sounds like he's trafficking this kid, L.A. Reid, as a gift. Like, I don't know if they're really trying to push that home. Like, he brought this kid to him as a gift. And it's like, that, what? And how it paved the way for singer's friendship with Diddy. Okay, so let's read this. I read a little excerpt of it because they brought it up on this thing about, oh, these weird things that happened to him in the past, and I knew some of it, but then this one was a new one. I didn't read it, and I was like, that's just creepy, because he's basically saying he's attracted to him. Stop saying it's an insult to say he looks like a woman or anything like that, because kids, before they develop, like, and they actually get into it right here, and I'm like, yeah, maybe that's really the deep down thing to their problems over here. And then they talk about getting rid of them when they start, maturing. And it's like, yeah, if you hear my voice from when I was like 16 and 17, I mean, I sound child. I mean, nothing. There would be no confusion that I'm a child there. That's when they really want you. The music mogul who discovered Usher and enabled P. Diddy to set up Bad Boy Records, revealed how Justin Bieber was brought to him as a gift by Usher when he was 14 years old. The pop star, who was 15 when he gained worldwide fame with his debut single One Time in 2009, was originally discovered age 12 by industry entrepreneur Scooter Braun, and when he was covering pop songs by Usher, Chris Brown on YouTube. Okay, so all these people are a hot mess. That includes Chris Brown. But his break came when Usher brought Bieber to music mogul L.A. Reid as a gift, when he was a beautiful 14-year-old boy. I don't even want to describe kids like this. It's extra creepy. Reid wrote in his tell-all memoir in 2016. Yeah, he has a very strong interest in beautiful young boys. Okay, so let's go down. Who's this dude? Okay, yeah, Scooter Braun. There's been a lot of talk about him throughout the years, and he's a hot mess. Okay, 1 year on from being signed to Island Records by Reid, a 15-year-old Bieber spent a now infamous 48-hour period with Diddy, seemingly unsupervised, at the rapper's home, where they went full buck crazy. Reid first met Puff Daddy, as he was then known, while looking for a new A&R man, and was so knocked out by his creative talents that he introduced him to Clive Davis and ensured he got the advance recording studio and everything he needed to create Bad Boy Records. When Reid, who is himself being sued for sexual assault and harassment by a former colleague, signed Usher as a teenager, he sent him off to be mentored by Diddy for a year when he was 14 years old. Diddy has now been charged with a host of sex trafficking and racketeering offenses, and with upwards of 120 victims already coming forward, with the rapper's relationship with Usher and Bieber coming under renewed scrutiny in wake of the allegations. Former X Factor judge Reid memoir pieced together how Diddy, Usher, and Bieber all became interlinked and how he was the common denominator. Gosh, Justin at 17 years old looks totally still a kid, right? I wouldn't look at him right now as an adult and go, wow, I confused him for being of age. Yeah, no. Okay, Reid wrote in his tell-all memoir about his first interaction with Justin, who, according to the music producer, has a beautiful face. Like, no one's even bothered by this. It's like, what the hell? Trendy hair and natural charisma. Okay, so apparently I had the natural charisma. There was something they liked about him that they did not want in me, and I'll get to it. Reid himself discovered Usher, and the pair remained close friends even after the star had signed to another label and would often exchange gifts. He recalled how Usher phoned him in October 2008 to ask if he'd be in his official all afternoon. Oh, in his office. What the hell am I saying? If he'd be in his office all afternoon because he had something he wanted to bring me. At 4 p.m., Usher arrived with an adorable 14-year-old boy. This kid was beautiful. Like a woman can be beautiful, and men rarely are. Oh no, I'll tell you a bunch of adult beautiful men. Oh my gosh, a whole bunch of us can talk about this. But we're talking about adults, man. I talk about the kids like this, but no, there's some adult men that are just beautiful. Yeah, there's that thing, but then you want to stay away from them. Anyway, and he turned it on as soon as he stepped into the room. So when he walked in, he was like, oh, you're beautiful like a woman. Now, a woman is an adult girl, right? So they're not saying like a little girl. They're saying beautiful like a woman. Like men are attracted to adult women. So when Bieber walked in the room, that was like an adult woman to read. Yeah, that thing. That would have concerned me. These comments right here. Bieber immediately sat down at the piano and started singing before playing his guitar and talking almost like it was a nightclub act. This is Justin Bieber, Usher said. Usher didn't bring me a kid with an amazing voice. He brought me a born entertainer, someone who would become the biggest of them all, Reid recalled. When Usher said he had a gift, he wasn't kidding. Ew, this whole like thing is just ugh. But when you're a kid and you read this stuff, you take in like, oh, they're praising me. They're saying like I'm just a natural. You kind of overlook maybe some of these comments as or how they're explaining him. Reid then decided to sign Justin right away and claimed his hair was every bit as important as his songs and his voice. That's just bizarre. He explained, since he was a minor, it took a couple of days to get his parents involved and signed off. We totally, we threatened them, hung them over a balcony. Give us your kid. I was like, give us your kid. The next time Bieber came to the office with his manager Scooter, Justin had grown his hair. I mean, it's so weird. They're so into this, you guys. It was weird because even when I had just turned 18 and I was being looked at by that one agency, when they first saw me, oh my God. When they first saw me, I did a commercial thing with that wig on. And I thought the wig looked a little on the cheesy side at that time because they didn't have as much nice wigs back then as they do today. But I don't know, something about it. And I was like, I don't want to wear that when I go into the office. And I think that actually made a difference as well. I don't know. But yeah, so they were ultra focused on the hair thing. This guy, it's so weird hearing a man so ultra focused on some guy's hair. But okay, so that it was almost covering his eyes, which Reid described as a catchy look that was all his own. I could see immediately that Justin's hair would be every bit as important as his songs. This is just, oh my God. I told you, these guys are so ridiculous. Okay, so his voice, his face, or his presence, he said, adding the teen would want to copy his hair. Okay, that the teens would want to copy his hit haircut. Reid went on to gush evermore about Justin in his book, saying Justin was simply beautiful. His superpower was his face, but his hair and his appearance were only part of his charm. Justin had this natural charisma that instantly transformed him into his own character, whereas other artists had to work to develop the persona that they wanted to project. He was lovable and lovely from the start, radiating personality. Okay, so I had all these qualities, but I think they, on this end of the, spectrum of music, they want me to be more evil, okay? So, yeah, you have to be much more darker and evil and turn into all these people that are getting busted. But, yeah, they didn't want, that wouldn't have sold well, being this lovable, I'm all about heavy metal, love, then it turns into Bon Jovi. I don't know. That they didn't want that, but I wasn't being that, but they really don't want that. It depends what you're messing with here. They want, on this end of the spectrum, what's their target audience, right? Adult men that likes little boys. So their target audience is adult men that likes little boys, even though, yeah, they're like, oh, our target audience is all these teenage boys. Because what happens here? This is kind of weird. It's almost like this, like the Playboy Mansion, right? But the Playboy Mansion for adult men wanting little boys. Like, okay, we're going to manipulate these young boys to turn into our perfect model of a young man. Okay, so we're going to sit there and turn them all into Justin Bieber, because I think that guy is the hottest thing on earth. So if we can get all these boys to mimic that, then they'll be my perfect playmate, right? Like, that's literally, that's going on here. I just think it's so weird, like, all these things that they're talking about, because I know they care about the style, because they were all about the look, right? So I was even saying, I go, oh no, they wanted you camera ready like 24/7. So if you were a female, it would not be abnormal, because you see them today doing it too, to run out in high heels and dressed up like to the nines, right? Like, that was kind of like part of the thing. But I would chronically push these like weird boundaries with clothing stuff. And so, no, there was not really anyone like me. So it was, there was no comparison. That was the thing from the early days. It's just there wasn't, because they all wanted to be pop stars. I mean, for the most part, women wanted to be beautiful, like that whole idea of it, and be like in Playboy or something. And I'm over here going, I'm going to jump into the men's clothing section here. And, yeah, I was sort of like that. But then also a mix, because I would wear high heels, but in a certain way. It just depend. It depend on my mood. But no. But the thing that they started doing, I was saying the entertainment lawyer, because they kind of act in the same manner here, was saying that I should lie about my age and say I'm younger because I look younger. And I'm just like, why? I don't think that the public would really give a crap if okay, I'm like 28 there. I don't know how old I was there. I might have been 26. But to say I'm like 2 or 3 years younger. You guys think that's going to make or break me? It would for guys that want young girls. But what would that have to do with my music? It wouldn't, because the men, we didn't even know their ages. And as we grew up, I realized that a lot of the guys that we were listening to were in their 40s and 50s. I'm like, well, they're not. Well, did they even lie about that? I don't think so. I think they were just out and proud, like, I'm an old man. I mean, it's just, why do I have to lie? Oh, and he wasn't overweight or anything like that, so they didn't even get into that. But they probably would have said, oh, and his slim body. They didn't even get into that. Okay, whereas other artists had to work to develop. Okay, so then they had those development deals and stuff to turn them into a product that could be sellable. So I didn't even have that, you guys. I was supposed to be developed, but I didn't technically need to be, but then I ended up developing myself. It's a weird thing, but without getting into all that garbage, Usher played a huge role in jumpstarting Justin's career because he brought him as a gift to an adult man. Okay, while the relationship has always been seen as professional, in 2016, the Yeah singer revealed that he felt like a mentor and Justin was more like family to him. Okay, so Justin quickly became involved with the Caught Up crew, which P. Diddy, featuring P. Diddy, who also became a mentor to him. And it was also thanks to Diddy that when Bieber's voice broke, it didn't derail his future with Island Records. By his own admission, Reid had wanted to drop Usher when the same thing happened. It's like, Usher's too old. He'd be turning into a man now. He's not beautiful like a woman. Speaking to the Hollywood Reporter, he revealed how P. Diddy was the one to talk him around, telling him, don't be a fool. Don't sell your stock in Usher. He's still going to be a star. He's everything you thought he was the day you signed him. With that advice in mind, he hired a vocal coach to help Bieber through the transition. I wasn't that way to Usher. I didn't give him the same kind of love. I didn't give him the same kind of love and support at the time. But Puffy was right, he said. And that's just the same kind of love. Okay, Reid, you guys, changes into if this was like little girls with these old men. I didn't give that little girl the same kind of love. Okay, yeah. Reid is currently being sued for sexual assault. I'm not surprised. Like, you read this whole thing as like he sounds like a straight up child predator, but okay. Sexual assault and harassment by a former colleague at Arista Records, which is interesting because they were brought up in that 96-7 portion by that girl that was with the doctor that was in another band that ended. I don't even understand the Arista thing. I believe it was Arista because I was dealing with the Alice camp, right? So I didn't have a lot of knowledge with a lot of the labels, and I figured, they're going to deal with whoever they're with. They were on another label. They were dealing with some other things. So, I knew nothing about these people, and I really kind of didn't care at the minute. But they're like, oh yeah, I'm really trying to get on this label, and I was meeting with, I don't know, they had something with these people, and I'm pretty sure it was them. And then I didn't get it. Like, I didn't know why they wanted to get on that thing. Because they do the same, like, they're in the same genre pretty much that I was at the time. And then, I don't know. Like, there was a lot of funky over there. And I don't think they were even legal here in the state, you guys. And there's not much I could say about it. I just know that there was some very dark things that were going on with those people just trying to do the recordings. And then, but they had some I don't know, they had some relation with somebody through these people. But then as you hear it, I was like, why would they be on a thing with Justin, all this stuff? I don't know. I just didn't get it at the time. But yeah, they were popped up in there. And then she was doing, you guys, it's dark. I don't know. I can't answer all that. And then I had to flee from their house because that was that lovey brother, sister. Yeah, that thing. Okay, so who says he assaulted her twice in 2001 on a private plane and in the back of his private car? Yeah, so a lot of my stories, it's like in the 90s. Like, it's mostly in the 90s, and that was the late 90s. So you're talking 2001, and that was the time that I started, the outing of stuff. So it fits all in that whole shebangy there. Dixon, who rose to vice president of A&R during her employment at Arista, and has previous accused Reid of misconduct, claims Reid impeded impeded her in her career and prevented her from signing and cultivating artists such as John Legend when she rebuffed him in other instances. Okay. She departed the company in 2002 and would return to the music industry, but her career failed to reach the same trajectory it initially achieved. Meanwhile, Justin is said to be disgusted by the allegations against Diddy, who was a mentor to him early in his music career. The new father has been advised to stay as far away as possible from anything and everything related to Diddy. Okay, but the directive hasn't been an issue for Justin, who reportedly wants nothing to do with the music mogul. Yeah. A second source said Justin is in a hard place mentally right now as he struggles to come to terms with the allegations against Diddy. He has such a history with Diddy, and the allegations against him have been hard to process. Questions have been raised over why those responsible for Bieber allowed Diddy to become something of a mentor to him as a child. Sources close to Justin exclusively told the Daily Mail that he should never have been allowed to party with Diddy or anyone else when he was a teen. They claim he was thrown to the wolves by his mother, largely absent father. Usher, whose record label Bieber was signed to, is also partly responsible, these sources claim. Yeah, but his mom, I think she was like a young, she's a young mom. She sounded like she wanted to do the best for her son and like make him happy and support him, like do this thing. And then didn't calculate this well. And you almost have to be like, how could you though? Because in this case here, you shouldn't have done this, but this has been pretty common, and that's what she probably thought she had to do for him, and then didn't know all this other stuff was going on. I don't expect her to know that they were doing all this other stuff. However, like you see, like the conduct, and I guess she didn't do much about it. I don't know. She seemed naive, more like that. And you have to get on these parents, like the education of it. But I was talking about this stuff since the whole time. Even throughout the time that Justin was going through this, I was on social media all the time talking about all this. And the public wants to sit there and be a bully. I go, no, this stuff is real. Like, I don't know where you guys are making up stuff. It was very difficult for me to go. I didn't even have a time to process that I'm a victim. It became this thing where it's like, I need to tell somebody. So I was in the process of, I need to tell somebody, and I don't know how to get out of this. And I tried to reach out to the lawyer, but the lawyer knew all about it, and he was all down with it because there was a long history with them with kids and stuff, okay? So then I was like, well, how else can I do it? I already know the cops are corrupt. They're all up in here. So I already knew that stuff. So then I'm like, okay, well, maybe if I reach out in a way to the public, I can get somebody to reach out to me. Maybe I can find out, maybe we can go after these people. I don't know. Like, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know if there's any other victims. It was a very lonely thing because there's nobody else in the industry with me, okay? They kept me very secluded from other people in the industry. And then people outside the industry cannot relate. And it was a very... they keep talking about people in the spotlight, but this place right here, I would say, is almost worse because at least when you're famous, you have a lot of other celebrity people that you can reach out to. Whereas in this position, I don't want to reach out to them, and nor do I want to reach out to a bunch of fans, okay? Because this has been a really effed up position to be in, and they don't relate. My friends be not knowing shit, and just how this inner working thing is. And so when I put something out in the public, it didn't say what my problem was, because the assistant may have thought I had some issues with the attorney too, because he knew I started talking to him, and they got really pissed off about that because he basically went behind his back. Okay, so if you don't understand this, the entertainment attorney went behind Alice's PA's back to get to me. And the PA did not want me talking to anybody else. He didn't want me talking to Toby. He didn't want me talking to any of these people. So when the entertainment attorney came in, I just assumed that they were all, like this thing about it. And then he finds out about it and he's mad. He's jealous and he's mad. And I'm just thinking, well, wouldn't the entertainment attorney guy be a better thing, though, to be dealing with this? Because he's actually like a lawyer. Like, he deals with the legal, that stuff. And this other guy wasn't doing anything. We'd already been dealing with each other since 91. So now it's 1999, and this entertainment attorney pops in. And at the same show, like, he popped in over there. So I was like, I don't know this guy. I never seen him before. And then he starts talking to me. So he must have seen the assistant talking to me. And then he's like, who is that? Yeah, because they know. Because by the look, the charisma, the whole shebang. That's why. They came up and they're like, boom. And that night I had every guy. That was awful. Because I had these two, these two guys, they might have been Russian. I don't know what the hell they were. These two white boys trying to rub up on me. And I believe it was at that show. It was awful. So I had all these people doing this stuff. And then Elton's full over there. And they started trying to cover up this incident. I'm like, I don't know how you're even going to try, because that's exactly how I met the attorney. And then that's how I went on a date with the damn band member. I mean, that's me there. I mean, that's not me just in the audience, okay? So, and so they don't know what I'm asking. So I'm like, did anybody have any issues, like business or any kind of weird thing with these people? So I didn't say right away, like, what the issue was with it, because, and I was trying to reach out to see if anything. I was like, anything, because I could just deny what and then eventually, there was this thing, and then I talked to that girl, and then, like I said, it just went from there. So I didn't even have a chance to deal with it. I didn't get this moment of, oh, leave her alone. Oh, no. They came at me like no other. And I'm just reading this thing, and then all these people started popping up, and this guy with all my private information out of nowhere. And I'm like, this is craziness. And I had to sit there and talk about it online, and then it affected my private life. People obtained information, I think, to my workplace. They've been, now I started getting threats. I'm like, dude, this is like 20 some odd years later, and people want to come and beat me up now because they missed the whole first half. What idiots. And they should be arrested for doing that. And it was crazy. So, no, I didn't get this thing. Everybody's being very supportive of them here about it, but no, they literally put me through massive trauma. And then LAPD was all involved in letting all these people target me. There was so much shit because they were all involved in the targets. And you wouldn't be sitting there trying to make me homeless or not arresting people for getting a kid. I mean, there's so much to it. And nobody arrested them for getting kids up here. So that's what we're saying. I go, it's not a thing where it's like, oh, they're not involved. I mean, what the hell? Just some guy going, that kid is beautiful. You brought a little boy as a gift? It took a long time to process that. But you know what helped process it? It's just me answering stuff. It was weird because they kept coming at me, and I was like, there's nothing to get me on because there's nothing I did wrong. So they were trying to come at me like, you did this. I'm like, yeah, because the guy groomed me. So at the time when they brought me out, like, I would go through this whole thing. And then as I'm talking about it more and more, like, I'm realizing more people are involved. It was really crazy because I thought it was just between me and them. So then I'd still go, oh, the boss, blah, all this stuff. Because I wasn't trying to include them yet. Because I figured that they didn't, I don't know. I didn't know what their partaking was in this. Because I was so confused that they said they did know about me when I asked them. I go, well, if they didn't know what I was asking, then they shouldn't have said yes. So they lied either way. So I was like, I don't know what to think of that thing right there. But as time went on, I go, oh, wait, they for sure know about it. And then this is what they did. And they're a pile of you-know-what. And then I find out, oh no, they were all with kids. So it was a process, man. That process right there was like, oh, no wonder nobody did anything. Like, this was their total thing to do, is go get kids. And then I realized, since it was so in the open, I'm like, oh, government's involved. You're going to figure it out, Justin. No, it was a horrible process to go through. It felt like being hit with the mad truck. The very day that letter got sent to, I was like, what? Yeah, I mean, I did not take that good at all. I never had an experience like that in my life. It was awful. I was like literally in a hotel, and I didn't know that lady did that. And I went to open my mail, and I still had to deal with them. Not anymore. And I was like, what? It was like they made up all kinds of crap. I don't know. It was like reading somebody else's story, because I was like, I don't even know what the hell you're talking about. Yeah, it was really weird. But they were like degrading me. And in the letter that when I was talking to that lady, I was like, yeah, this situation happened. It was like that. And the whole thing that came back was degrading me as a human. And they brought in Cindy and all that bullshit. I was like, yeah, but the stuff that I gave to that lady wasn't like that. It was something about, oh, yeah, when I was a kid, this thing and that thing, and they try to do this and, this and that and this and that. And, because I'm not talking to him. I'm telling her, the situation that happened. And this whole thing comes back degrading me, my talent, which is bullshit. My talent was there. And then I had other people trying to come at me for my talent. And that's what made him jealous. And then he said that comment about, I'll be kicking myself if you have a hit song, which was very key in this story, because it's telling you it was about business, and he was trying to control my music. And I'm like, yeah, why would he care about me having a hit song, you guys? Hello, you idiots. So no, he did say that, and I was trying to talk about all this, and they were trying to say he's innocent. I go, he's not innocent. He got a freaking kid. And then, but it's telling you what it was about. It's not about groupie anything. It was about him and his control over me in the music industry. And then I was sitting there so focused on, well, they didn't ask me to write hit song. Like, I'm looking at it like that because, I figure everybody knows the story by now because I said it. But they overlooked this whole thing. I go, oh no, he admitted, that they got me for business stuff, because you wouldn't make a comment like that. I will be kicking myself if you have a hit song. I'm like, am I supposed to write one? Am I supposed to? Because if you told me that, this would be a different thing. It does matter. It does matter in the picture what happened here. So I was like, oh my God. And now it's like a way also to degrade me, like I have no talent. But yet he goes and he writes a song with Alice after I asked him, do you have any freaking talent? So he's like trying to prove himself in some way, and the song still sucked. It wasn't a hit. Was it a hit? No! None of the songs on that album became a hit. None of them. And it's so like, do you guys have a mirror over there? No. So they were totally irrelevant in this period of time. And, you see all these bigwigs come out here, and then he goes and fetches who. And then the next thing you know, yeah, so no, there's a lot of people in this, you guys. No, what they said, the lawyer, you have what it takes, blah, blah, blah. They've been in the industry, you guys, for a very long time. They're the people with the runaways and all that. So they were going on this thing. Then they, because they heard the music. Now, the assistant didn't hear the music yet. Because he's too busy getting jealous because of dates and weird crap and all that. And then they went on tour. And then the attorney was still here. And then I went and met up with them. Yeah, like either during their tour or once they came back. I don't remember. It was in this period of time. So I went down there, gave him the copies of the music that the Elton dudes, yeah, those guys that they did. And so they heard it. So that's the actual first thing that they heard. And then it was there. The music was spot on because the people that did the music were already signed or getting signed or doing stuff. So they were on the I guess you could say they're on the trend right now in their music style and everything. It's like mainstream. So when they heard that, it was on point. So that's why that came together. And then there was some other stuff that was going on right there. So I was like, yeah. So all that interest area was right there. But what screwed it up, right? Alice's team. Completely. Then they're child predators. So I was getting punished because they're child predators. And they turned that around to something that was so monstrous. Like, Justin right now is really lucky. I'm going to tell him this. He's very lucky that the public's perception has shifted a bit, because this story right here could have ended worse, because all these people that are getting busted right now wouldn't have been busted at the time. And they would have been coming out spinning. The spin doctors are so bad. They would start spinning, like the depth thing that you guys saw. There's a lot of people that are protecting everybody here, okay? I first dubbed them. I called them the spin doctors because I'd never seen anything like that in my life. They came out and they spin the story. They'll take a truth and they start adding lies and flipping it around and changing the sequence of events, and it's so crazy. And I was like, oh my God, that was the first time I had to deal with that. And luckily it wasn't in the headlines, because then, then everybody's going at it, right? It was among this group of people. There was like 1 million hits though on that stuff. So there was a lot of people seeing it. I think it just caught wind from, people in the industry and fans and whatnot. And they were reading our stuff. And then they were trying to judge me some crazy fan. Yet the assistant was telling you that he knew me for a decade. And we're talking music stuff. Like, it made no sense. They were spinning it. I don't know how you could run with it, because they were spinning it like that, and then yet he answered. And so I was replying back, and yeah, it was, I mean, that was bad enough. So I'm just saying he's very lucky that the public now is not, doing this thing of, Diddy is the greatest god on earth, and Justin's a little, this whole thing, and drug out, they would have gone on this whole thing. And they wouldn't even care. Like, what's his problem? It was so awful. Like them just telling me, forget about it. The best thing of revenge is to be happy and do this thing, and just stupid crap. Really stupid crap. I'm like, somebody should be in jail? Oh no, the public's totally down with it. So that's how come a Justin Bieber situation and all this stuff with the kids happened. Because at the moment in time this is going on, they're promoting it. The public's promoting it. Rape kids, get kids. They all know what they're in for. Yeah, this whole period right here. And I was trying to expose what was going on. And then it was revealing over this course of another decade and another decade, the amount of people that were in here protecting this house. Then you're watching Bieber have this happen, and I hadn't even gone to therapy yet. I mean, I did pretty good without therapy right there, because I was actually talking about things out loud to the public like you would with a therapist. So I think that was one portion that helped me out a huge bit in the early portion. But then I was having questions like why my rape, like right before that incident, wasn't bothering me as much. It didn't seem to. It didn't appear to bother me as much as the situation with this camp. And I thought maybe there's something wrong with me. So I'm going to go talk with them. So then it turned into that thing. And then that became a total setup with LAPD being a part of that therapist thing, which I didn't know. I don't know. There was a whole thing with that. And then it kills your trust about who to go talk to. And then that lady was getting weird because she's not used to dealing with celebrities stuff, I guess. And then asking me some other interject questions that really are none of her business. I mean, it has nothing to do with this, and I could go after what I want and, you know, whatever in life, okay? It was a separate thing, and it actually triggered this thing to make me on guard with her because I don't know, like her, that's just, it wasn't a good match because it's not somebody that deals with that universe, and there's no evidence to suggest Bieber's parents, Usher or Reid, knew about Diddy's alleged criminal activity at the time. I certainly wouldn't expect his mom to have known that. I mean, that's just, it's probably in her mind the way when I was listening to her, probably just didn't even give it a second thought. Like, who would think that was going on? Justin's wife, Haley, was moved to share a bold post featuring her husband this week because she wanted to show the world how she feels amid ongoing speculation surrounding her former close relationship with Diddy. Monday night saw the model share a throwback snap on Instagram of the 30-year-old pop star flipping both middle fingers in the air. Justin was shirtless and wearing board shorts as the playful photo was captioned "Mood." Y'all fuck everybody, y'all. She feels like a gatekeeper for her husband. Haley believes that she is Justin's gatekeeper, and this was her way of showing the world how she feels about the whole situation with Diddy. She had chosen one from 2017 that was taken before he got back together with his ex, Selena Gomez, again. However, the source stated that the model might be wise to let her husband speak for himself whenever he feels ready to do so. As they added, Haley needs to let Justin act for himself instead of using an image of him to convey what she feels he should be saying. But Justin really has no voice right now, and it is sad. I don't know if they're telling him to, like, not say much. Maybe it's a situation like that. So, it comes after sources previously told Daily Mail that Justin has indeed been struggling with the revelations being made about Diddy and the 54-year-old arrest regarding sex trafficking. The insider claimed that the singer feels he has no one to talk to and is sailing these waters alone. Well, I did it, Justin, so you could survive it. I'm just saying. There was literally not a single person that I could tell. I mean, I told people, but they're emotionally and just not capable of shit. Okay, so no, I absolutely did. So if I could do it, you can do it. And Justin feels like there is no one that he could talk to that understands. And to be honest, he doesn't even fully understand. He was a kid. Exactly. But the way you come to it, like I said, it was me. I mean, I literally was talking to the public, to people I don't even know about what happened. And they were coming at me. It was like they didn't comprehend it. And I'm over here trying to educate them about the wrongs of this situation. So it made me on this defense. And there are people that wish they could meet these people. Like a lot of that. And then there's assholes in here that think they know them and they don't. They were not even involved in this situation because it was very private and secluded between me and these few people. And they want to come in here and start shit with me. F them to hell. I would never forgive those people. Never. I mean, that's ridiculous. Who does that? That just causes more trauma. Like, it would be like me attacking, I'm like, Justin wanted it, dude. He wanted to be with, you know, like this thing. So they were kind of coming at me like that. And I'm disgusted that they're okaying an adult man on a kid. So I was battling that, man. He doesn't have that on him. Because, I mean, I don't know if anybody's trying to say that. I don't think so. I'm not reading that in these comments, but Yeah, so they were trying to blackmail me too in its own way. It's almost like they were dangling. They're like, we got some stuff. And I'm just like, I don't care. I'm going to jump ahead of it. I go, because I'm not going to let anybody try to pervert anything that I ever did. I go, I'm not going to lie about it, but I'm going to explain it to the public because they were dangling it. And I was like, I don't know who this guy is, but he's acting like he's going to put it out here. Then he docks my name, and I'm not a public figure. And I'm like, wow, okay, they are. They were on VH1. They were in Howard Stern's book. So he is a public figure. He is known. And he gave his phone number out to everybody, and it was in public. So I'm like, yeah, well, my information is not all that, okay? All right, so that's how that goes right there. So I just want to interject because been there, done that, and then government didn't arrest anybody, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. What happened there? So when I was like reporting stuff, I have a number of things I had to report. So I'm not a victim of just them. I'm a victim of multiple people. And when I was trying to add, we started off with the original human trafficking story. And then I go, isn't it funny? They didn't even give a shit about me in the story, really. They didn't. How am I even witnessing this? Can we check up on her parent? This whole thing. Nah, nothing, these agents. And then I was feeding them the information on the workplace because I had already filed a thing on them, and then it was covered up. And then so I thought, oh, now they just started up the human trafficking hotline. So now I'm going to take it to this point because we tried to go at this point. It was this series of things. So I'm still like in the process of trying to go at a lot of different things. Okay. They didn't even use the term human trafficking in 92. Okay, guys. So for me to look at what happened, the term was not human trafficking. It was definitely child human trafficking, and I had to get a guy off me. That shit was like, I was like, how in the hell are they getting this attempted rape thing? And the guy at the human trafficking thing was like, the agent or whoever, he's just like, oh, okay, so nothing happened to you. Kind of like that thing. I'm like, no, a major thing happened to me. Attempted rape is a crime, mostly on a kid, and you being set up to be raped by a very old man is a freaking crime. So how do they have those people as part of agents of anything? Yeah, but then on top of it, yeah, they were trying to set me up for that, and then they got caught. And I was like, you know how crazy this L.A Reid ring is? I mean, they were going to depths that, just on kids. I mean, they were trying to extend that thing. They were trying to do all kinds of crap. And that was one of the things. Yeah, there was a lot. There was a lot in that. And I still hadn't even touched that topic yet. It was like, I don't even want to think about the nightmare that was. Yeah, so the parties that they had then, they didn't have this big McMansion party. They just had crack parties at these apartments with these A-list. Well, I wouldn't call Ola an A-lister, but she was, because Michael Jackson was so famous and she was in the video, you kind of see her in that light because when you think of, Thriller, you go, oh, yeah. I mean, everybody knows her. If you go, oh, the girl in that video, everybody goes, yeah, we know her. And so that's what the thing was at the time. And so you couldn't even, man, when I first came out with that, you couldn't even say anything bad about them. I'm like, yeah, but they got arrested for it. I mean, I'm like, they got arrested for it. Like, we're not even making up something. It's like, we could back it. So it's not, I'm making an accusation and no one knew about the accusation. Now, they may not have known the accusation. They may not have known the case. I was thinking, when I was talking about a lot of this stuff, most people were like, what? We didn't even know that happened. I'm like, yeah, it made the media, but like a bleep. It was like, I don't know if Michael helped it stay down or what the deal was, but it was like a bleep. It was like that. And then all of a sudden the kid case came up, I think it was. So like a lot of people didn't know about it. Also, mad at this whole thing. So then I meet the guys from, the striper thing I was saying, the brother. And when I was talking to him about it, but I don't remember if I said who it was. But I remember talking about it because I was like, oh man, I lost like 50K. I like throw out this like random number. I'm like, I lost like 50K. And then later I was thinking about it, I was like, I wasn't purposely trying to exaggerate. I actually just didn't know the amount of money I lost in it. And I was like, oh my God, no, but I remember us talking about it, but not the depths of it. I was just saying, oh, they stole my stuff. They did this thing, and then they started saying some other stuff about something else. But I was like, yeah. So, no, I absolutely did. I brought it up. I said, like, 50K. I remember the 50K thing. It was just like, 50K. I was like, freaking 19 here. I didn't manage my money at that time. I managed some of it, but I didn't, I wasn't managing all of it at that time. Like, my dad was taking care of, like, a lot of these different things. And then when they dumped me here, then I didn't have any normal income. And I was trying to get these jobs, and then the jobs were not paying me. And then the one guy did pay me, the one at the one office thing, but then I had to leave that job because of the riots. And then the other guys, they set me up for a child rape. I don't even know how many people raped me in that thing. I really don't. It's disgusting. It's a story where I was knocked out, and then it's the next day, and then there's one guy there, but that's not who was messing with me before that happened. And I was like, oh my God, this is awful. I wasn't conscious, you guys. Like, I wasn't even conscious in the kitchen. So somehow from the kitchen, I blacked out, and then I'm somewhere else. I have no idea what happened. That's a very horrifying thing to try to think about. So you don't know what happened. You don't know if there's photos. You don't know how many people were involved in that. It's the same thing as the Diddy parties right here, where you just don't know what happened. And that actually could be part of Justin's thing too, where he just had these situations where, he doesn't even know what happened. And to think about it, you're just like, did that happen to me? Like, I was, maybe it just wasn't even a thought because you're just not present. And then it's a lot of things. It took a long time to even go back to that. It took, for that portion of the story, 2009, it started creeping up because of TMZ. I was kind of here and there, but mentally shut off from that thing. Yeah, when they brought her up, and she's like, I'm gonna sue Michael for some money. And I was like, oh, well, wouldn't it be nice to give me mine back? It caused this thing. Yeah, it was somewhere around there, 2008, 9. And Michael was still alive. And then I started bringing the stuff up. And then all of a sudden he dies. And I'm like, yeah, it was crazy. I was just like, wow. And people thinking that it's just, they're like, you're trying to do this to be famous. I'm like, oh yeah, getting raped as a kid, dude, is totally, and being in a drug ring. Awesome. That's exactly how I'm going to make it to the top, ladies and gentlemen. I was in a drug ring. Yeah, I got raped the shit. Yeah. That doesn't even make any sense. Like, I didn't want anybody to know that crap. I didn't mention a lot of things. I don't think that my friends even knew about that GNR thing. I don't remember ever mentioning that to them. And my one friend was like such a big fan of them. I don't think I ever mentioned it. I think because the situation and the setup was so awful that why am I gonna go tell these people, oh yeah, they set me up and I got my ass raped up in here, like this thing and that thing. I did not process that well at all. I knew it was bad. I had my brain, I had a list. Like, I was like, okay, I got this situation happened, this situation happened. Okay, it's 22 times? Is it 22 times now? Am I missing some perpetrator in here? I probably am, because when I'm knocked out, I cannot count people. So I was I had that going on. So I had a general perspective. And then I don't know, getting in a relationship right there, I was like, that thing, I don't even want anyone near me after this bullshit right here. But then actually did have a decent boyfriend right at that one point. And then, yeah, no, that was awful. But I will say, like, I'd say the worst thing was after all that, and then you go on a date with somebody and then they knock you out in your later years. Like, you know how effed up that is? I'm like really good at reading people these days, and yet, uh, somebody did that. I don't think there's really a good way to figure that out unless, I guess what the flag could have been in that, like I was looking at the characteristics because we look at all that. The fact that the guy just randomly was like, "Do you want to go on a date?" Maybe just the whole upfront pushing thing, because both these guys that did that, the from the Alice's camp, the band member, but he didn't rape me, but there's a whole other thing there. But the other guy was acting about that way too, and I just said okay. And then just maybe a whole thing about his character. Well, his characteristics did come out much later, like after the fact. So I was like, yeah, I don't know. You just have to pay some, major attention to how they're speaking. Just the way they're speaking about women generally, because that'll let you know. Anybody that's talking anti-gender or anything, those guys are all the ones that hate women and that will rape women. Take a check on that. Because if you look at the Dre thing, if he's being homophobic, you already know. See, we know the story backwards, so we know he already beat up a bunch of women. So he's going to be homophobic. He has an issue with women, so he's going to be homophobic. That's just how that is. So, if you start hearing the man being homophobic, then he has some issues with women. So, or vice versa, you hear any of that. And we're not talking about ignorantly throwing out a damn word. We're talking about the mannerism, how if they're like going at some guy and they're like, doing all this and, sending goons after him. Yes, that's going to tell you right there that the dude has issues with women and men. He's going to have issues with men, but he's going to automatically have issues with the LGBTQ. And you'll see it even in the LGBTQ where they have issues with women, and they will actually say these words to themselves. It's just, it's a hot mess, you guys. It is. But beware of any guys starting to talk about little kids as being beautiful in that way, that thing. Why did we as kids think this is funny? As a kid, it is so weird. Does anybody remember this? And maybe it's just our group of friends. I thought this was somehow funny. Like these gross adults, like, you're gonna be so hot when you're like 20. Yeah, and we would make fun of this. And I guess that's just a way for us to like deal with the grossness of these people. Like, we didn't think it was cool or anything. It was sort of just like, ew. And then we'd say it. When you grow up, you're going to be such a hottie when you're like 20. You just start mimicking the adults because they're talking to us like that. I was like, oh my God, you know how disgusting that is? What the hell is going on there? No, it's because the adults were talking to us like that. Oh, Dad's gonna have a hard time getting the men off you when you're of age. Yeah, it's just like, I think that was a sign that all those adults were a bunch of predators. It's like, I don't know, they thought that was a good thing to say? Because they're basically going, I'm attracted to you now. And it's like, yeah, you shouldn't be. And I'm here for all the wrong humor. But that thing, put yourself in Bieber's position. And you can sit there and put yourself as a female in the story right here. Beautiful like an adult woman. She's beautiful like an adult woman. and I knew she had her hair. Like that crop right there. Yeah. And we keep saying how creepy it is. And then all the men come in and going, all this woke culture. Yeah, they do this bullshit. It's like, no, we didn't like it then.